One of the most damaging things parents of neurodivergent kids are told is this: they just need to toughen up. So when your child struggles with overwhelm, transition, school, anxiety, emotional regulation, and so much more, the solution becomes more pressure, more exposure, less support, as if resilience grows through overwhelm. But what if I told you that for many ADHD and autistic children, being pushed too hard does not build confidence? It destroys it, because there is a huge difference between building resilience and overwhelming a nervous system. And most parenting advice completely misses that distinction. So today I'm going to show you why toughening up often backfires for neurodivergent kids. The biggest mistakes parents accidentally make when trying to build confidence, and what actually helps ADHD and autistic children become resilient, capable, emotionally strong humans. Without burnout, without masking, without shutdown, without making them feel broken. Because resilience should never come at the cost of your child's nervous system. Hi, I'm Isabella Doyle, a neurodivergent family coach and mom of 2 neurodivergent teens. And I specialize in helping families move from constant overwhelm and meltdowns towards nervous system safe approaches and collaborative and proactive solution model. And honestly, this topic matters deeply to me because I see so many beautiful neurodivergent kids being pushed beyond capacity, all in the name of preparing them for the real world. And the result is often not resilience, it's shame and burnout. And here's the huge misunderstanding about resilience. Most people define resilience completely wrong. They think resilience means coping silently, tolerating the stress, pushing through, not reacting emotionally, becoming less sensitive. But that's not resilience. That is often suppression or masking or survival mode. Real resilience is not nothing affects me. Real resilience is I can recover. That distinction changes everything. A resilient child is not a child who never struggles. A resilient child is a child who trusts themselves, feels safe asking for help, can adapt after setback, can regulate after overwhelm, can solve problems with support, and gradually develops confidence in their own ability to cope. That's very different from just get over it. And neurodivergent children especially need us to understand this, because many ADHD and autistic children are already experiencing the world as more intense, more demanding, more unpredictable, more exhausting. Things neurotypical kids barely notice can completely drain a neurodivergent nervous system. Noise, transitions, executive functioning demands, social interpretation, uncertainty, sensory input, task switching, time pressure, emotional intensity. So when we say they just need to push through, we sometimes accidentally push children from manageable stretch into nervous system flooding. And flooded brains do not learn well. And here's the biggest mistake parents make when trying to build confidence in neurodivergent kids is confusing overwhelm with growth. Those are not the same. Growth happens when challenge feels hard but possible. Overwhelm happens when challenge feels unsafe, unpredictable, or impossible. And here's the important part. Children cannot build confidence from experiences that consistently end in panic, shutdown, humiliation, or failure, because the brain learns from experience. If your child repeatedly experiences, I cannot do this, this is too much, I always fail, people laugh at me, I lose control every time, their nervous system stops associating challenge with growth and starts associating challenge with danger. And then parents often misunderstand the avoidance. They think they are refusing, but underneath, the child may actually be thinking, I don't believe I can survive this successfully. That's no laziness. That's lost self-trust. And this is why repeatedly overwhelming neurodivergent children often reduces resilience instead of building it. So what is supportive stretch versus nervous system flooding? This might be the most important concepts in this entire video. Neurodivergent kids need challenge, but they need the right size challenge. Supportive stretch sounds like, this is hard, but I think I can do it. I feel nervous, but supported. I'm uncomfortable, but safe. Flooding sounds like, I cannot cope, I need to escape. My brain is shutting down, I'm trapped. And once a child enters flooding, we are no longer building resilience. We are building survival responses. Fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. This is why some traditional parenting advice backfires badly for neurodivergent children. Things like just ignore the anxiety, don't accommodate, force eye contact, push them harder, make them independent. They need consequences. Stop helping them already. For some kids, that creates chronic nervous system activation, not confidence. And eventually, school refusal, shutdown, emotional explosions, masking, panic, self-esteem collapse, and burnout. Because children grow best from safety plus stretch, not fear plus pressure. So what actually builds resilience in ADHD and autistic children? Here is what I want you to understand about resilience building. It's not a list of strategies you apply to your child. It's a series of experiences your child has with you that gradually rewire what their nervous system believes is possible. Let me walk you through what that actually looks like. The first thing is co-regulation before independence. We live in a culture that treats dependency as the opposite of capacity. That if your child still needs you to help them regulate, to sit with them, to stay calm when they cannot, to be physical anchor when their nervous system is flooding. That is a crutch to remove. It isn't. Co-regulation is neurological scaffolding. For a differently wired child whose prefrontal cortex is still developing, the capacity to self-regulate, repeated experiences of being regulated with someone safe is how that capacity gets built. You cannot skip this step. Rushing, it doesn't produce independence. It produces a child who white knuckles their way through the stress alone and calls that coping. Every time they attempt something hard and it ends up in shutdown or panic, that goes on the record. Every time it ends in success, even partial, even messy, that goes on the record too. So the question is never, how do I push my child to do the hard thing? The question is, how do I size the hard thing so their nervous system gets to experience winning? Instead of order your whole meal, try say the drink. Instead of clean your room, try let's start with the clothes on the floor. That's not lowering the bar, that's building the runway. The third thing is treating accommodations as failure. An accommodation is not giving up on your child. It's giving your child access. Glasses are an accommodation. A quiet workspace is an accommodation. Extra processing time is an accommodation. Noise cancelling headphones are an accommodation. None of those prevent growth. They enable it. The goal is never to remove all support as fast as possible. The goal is to build genuine capacity, and capacity requires conditions in which the nervous system can actually function. The fourth thing, and this is where the real transformation happens, is letting your child practice in solving hard things, not having solutions imposed on them, not being managed around the problem, actually being invited into the process of figuring it out. This is the heart of the collaborative and proactive solutions model by Dr. Greene. And the reason it works is not just that you arrive at better solutions, though you do, but because your child has information about their own experience that you simply don't have access to. Is that the process itself is the intervention. When you sit down with your child outside the hard moments and genuinely ask them, what's making this hard for you? And then listen without correcting or immediately fixing or changing something. They experience being taken seriously. And when you say, I wonder if we can figure this out together, they experience being trusted as a participant in their own life. That is what builds the belief. I am capable. Hard things can be worked through. I don't have to force this alone. You cannot get that from consequence. You cannot get that from praise. You get it from being genuinely included again and again until it becomes what your child believes about themselves. The fifth thing is teaching recovery, not perfection. Resilient children are not children who never fall apart. They are children who have learned, I know how to come back. Can they repair after conflict, recover after overwhelm, ask for support before they hit the wall, try again after something went badly? That's resilience, not the absence of struggle, the presence of repair. Every time you help your child come back from a hard moment without shame, without a lecture, without making them feel bad or broken for having struggled, you are building the evidence that falling apart is survivable. And that evidence is what they will draw on for the rest of their lives. Now, let's talk about the confidence trap. A lot of neurodivergent children quietly develop something heartbreaking. They stop trusting themselves, not because they are not trying, not because they don't want to succeed, but because after enough corrections, enough overwhelm, enough experiences of falling short of an expectation that was never calibrated for their nervous system, they began to assume the conclusion before the attempt. I cannot. I can't. And the instinct when you see that in your child is to push harder, to expose them more, to manufacture challenge and call it confidence building. But a child who has already decided they cannot, whose nervous system has been conditioned to associate challenge with danger, does not respond to more pressure, but suddenly believing in themselves. They respond by finding more sophisticated ways to avoid the situation entirely. Better excuses, earlier refusals, longer meltdowns that begin the moment that threat is perceived. Not when it arrives, when it's perceived. What rebuilds self-trust, it's not pressure. It's the accumulation of different evidence. Evidence that hard things can be survived, that adults are on their side, not on the side of the outcome, that their voice counts in the process of solving problems. that asking for help is not failure. It is the exact right move. Your child does not need to become less neurodivergent to be resilient. They need environments and adults that help their nervous system succeed. That shift changes families. I have watched it happen, and it can happen in your family too. So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Neurodivergent children do not become resilient by being overwhelmed repeatedly. They become resilient when they experience safety, support, manageable challenge, recovery, and self-trust. The goal is not make them tougher. The goal is help them believe they can cope. Your child does not need harder nervous system. They need a safer path to confidence. And if this helped you, subscribe for more nervous system safe parenting support for ADHD and autistic kids. And in the comments, tell me what is one thing that helped your child feel more confident lately. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.